The Duchess of Malfi, John Webster, 1580 to 1632. John Webster's date of birth and death is unknown. Similarly, no idea about his education. Most probably, he might have born in 1580 and died in 1632. His life seems to have been hidden in mystery. We can understand that many of his earlier plays had been written in collaboration with Thomas Dekker and Thomas Middleton. But from the plays of his own, it is evident that Webster was an excellent writer. Webster's fame rests almost entirely on his two masterpieces, The White Devil and The Duchess of Malfi. He is said to have occupied a place next to Shakespeare among his contemporaries as a writer of tragedies. Moreover, Seneca, the great ancient Roman tragic dramatist of 1st century AD, who introduced the elements of horror in the revenge play, influenced him much. Webster follows the Senecan model of tragedy in his plays. Painter's Palace of Pleasure is the source that helped Webster to come out with the Duchess of Malfi. The theme of the story of Painter was a warning to women against pursuing sensual desire. But Webster enriched the story with considerable addition and transformed the play as a psychological study of human characters in abnormal circumstances. While Antonio, who has returned from France, is talking with his friend Dalio, Bossola and the Cardinal came there. Bossola says that he has been in galleys for the murder he did for the Cardinal. However, he is later appointed as a spy in the court by Ferdinand, Duke of Calabria, the brother of Cardinal and the Duchess of Malfi. Ferdinand asks Bossola to work as a spy upon his sister. He wants Bossola to watch the suitors of his sister. He and his brother the Cardinal don't want their sister marrying again. But the Duchess falls in love with her steward Antonio and secretly marries him. However, a child is born to them. Bossola, the spy, gets the horoscope of the newborn son of Antonio and the Duchess. But he doesn't know it was Antonio who married the Duchess. Bossola sends Castruccio with the message to the Cardinal and Ferdinand that the Duchess has given birth to a child. The Cardinal and Ferdinand get angry on knowing the child birth of their sister. Ferdinand wants to burn the bodies of the Duchess and her lover in coal pit, but the Cardinal controls him. However, the brothers don't do anything for some time. During that period, the Duchess gives birth to two more children. So the people of Malfi begin to whisper that the Duchess is a strumpet. Though Antonio gets richer day by day, no one suspects Antonio to be the husband of the Duchess. However, Ferdinand meets his sister and asks her to marry Count Malatesti, but she refuses. Ferdinand enters the chamber of the Duchess with the help of Bosola, who provides him the false keys of the chamber. He overhears the words of the Duchess when she talks to herself. As Ferdinand doesn't know who her husband is, the Duchess wants to save Antonio by banishing him for the dishonesty. So she sends Antonio to Ancona and says that soon she will join him there. Bosola, by praising Antonio, makes the Duchess open her heart. She tells Bosola that Antonio is her husband and also reveals her further plan to him. Bosola suggests her to go to a pilgrimage to Loreto, which is very near to Ancona. Then Bosola goes to Rome and informs the plan of the Duchess to Ferdinand and the Cardinal. The Cardinal, who is also a distinguished soldier, exchanges his robes of church dignitary with those of a soldier in the shrine of Our Lady of Loreto, on the demand of the Emperor Charles V to take part in the military operations. The Duchess and Antonio are banished from Ancona, and their properties have been confiscated by the influence of the Cardinal. The Duchess sends Antonio to Milan with the eldest son, but the Duchess becomes a prisoner in her own palace then. Ferdinand wants to be reconciled with the Duchess. He asks her to meet in her room without any lights. She begs pardon in the darkness. As a token of his sentiments, he offers her a dead man's hand, then says that it is the hand to which she had vowed her love and which bears the ring she gave. The Duchess calls for lights and discovers that it is a dead man's hand. He convinces the Duchess that Antonio is dead and shows a few waxen figures behind the curtain and says that they are the dead bodies of Antonio and the children. The Duchess is so agonized at the sight and decides to end her life by fasting. Ferdinand enjoys his tormenting the Duchess. He plays further torments by sending a troop of mad people near the lodgings. They make nerve-shattering noise, but the Duchess tolerates everything and shows wonderful nobility. Then Bosola comes distinguished as an old man and says that he has come to make her tomb. The Duchess talks to him without having any fear. Then executioners enter with a coffin cord and a bell. Bosola tells the Duchess that she is to die by strangling. She prays upon her knees and is strangled. Then Cariola, her maidservant, and the children of the Duchess are also strangled. However, on looking at the dead face of the Duchess, Ferdinand intolerably says Cover her face. Mine eyes dazzle. She died young. Duke Ferdinand develops a fit of madness then. The doctor calls it as lycanthropia, a kind of insanity where the patient thinks that he has been transformed into a wolf. Though the Cardinal knows about the death of the Duchess, he pretends to be unknown of it. He promises Bosola fortune and honor if he kills Antonio. But Bosola overhears the Cardinal's plan of killing Bosola after the death of Antonio. So Bosola decides to kill the Cardinal and save Antonio. But unfortunately, he mistakes Antonio for the Cardinal and he thrusts his sword at Antonio. The Cardinal tells the courtiers not to come for help even if they happen to hear the shriek of Ferdinand on his entering into the place where actually Bosola is waiting to take his life. So no one comes to his help when the Cardinal shrieks for help on his getting attacked by Bosola. Then Ferdinand comes there with a sword and attacks Bosola. Bosola kills both the Cardinal and Ferdinand. He tells the courtiers everything and that it is his revenge for their murder of the Duchess. Thus, Bosola becomes the executioner of divine vengeance upon the Cardinal and Ferdinand. It is really a strange transformation of Bosola at the end. Then Delio comes with Antonio's son and establishes him in his mother's right. Thus, the Duchess of Malfi stands so different from the average revenge play.